Okay, this is a little bit of an impromptu thing, but I'm not seeing any Rosa Arcana builds. And as it turns out, the Rosa Arcanas are actually one of the strongest plants for mana generation. We got 3 empty mana pools, so we'll go ahead and stand inside the Rosa Arcanas, right? And if we take a look at our wand here, you can see that this mana spreader actually isn't keeping up with this Rosa Arcana, but these two are keeping up with these Rosa Arcanas, right? So that's nothing too special. But this is siphoning our experience, and we'd have to stand here for ever just to get the experience off of our bodies. But that's boring, and who has time for standing around? If you're playing Divine Journey 2, which is the mod pack that I am doing this on, we'll just go ahead and take a look at the Rosa Arcanas. And as you can see, the Rosa Arcanas actually aren't that bad to craft in Divine Journey 2. You do already need a good chunk of mana to be able to make the Rune of Mana. So you will need the Endo Flames to start. But once you get the Rosa Arcana, it's actually not too trivial, assuming you have auto-crafting set up for everything. But I digress. We don't want to stand here the entire time. So what you may not know is that the Rosa Arcanas can actually feed off experience orbs. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to give this mechanical user just a couple speed upgrades. We'll give it, we'll give it nothing for now. We'll throw a resonant servo up here with a drawer that has the infinite vending upgrade and solid experience. And as you can hear, it's just going one at a time. That's not too bad. It's going to take a long time to get this done, but sure, that's really not that bad. For now, let's just go ahead and disassociate these flowers. And let's just pay attention to this one flower for now. So, with 1 per second, the mana spreader is actually keeping up quite well. That's 1 per second. We can add speed upgrades. So let's add 2 more. And assuming you have enough grid power, which I don't, or assuming you're using some other way, like for example the player simulator, this thing from Integrated Dynamics, which is definitely a viable option, we should be able to start to see this Rosa Arcana getting overwhelmed by the amount of experience being output. Assuming the experience doesn't jump out, we're actually still getting quite a bit of mana. So let's go ahead and add 2 more speed upgrades. So now that we've added those 2 speed upgrades, this mana spreader is overwhelmed, and this flower is very much not able to absorb all the experience. So it's going to drop his orbs on the ground. But there doesn't appear to be a limit based on how fast the Rosa Arcanas can absorb experience from the ground, even though it is less efficient than grabbing them from the player. So let's replace this Rosa Arcana with the next one over, and it'll be linked to the Elven Mana Spreader. Now, even this Mana Spreader is overwhelmed with just the 4 speed upgrades and the 1 Rosa Arcana. As you can see, it's going to go up and it's going to cap off, and we're going to start losing, or having experience in the box that the Rosa Arcana has to absorb. But it's certainly speeding along. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to break that Rosa Arcana, and we're going to get this Rosa Arcana instead. This Rosa Arcana is linked to the Gaia Mana Spreader. And if we take a look, even the Gaia Mana Spreader is actually able to keep up with this Rosa Arcana. So, but it is getting up there occasionally when there's like a big drop of experience that doesn't clump together, comes down, the flower picks it up. So let's add some more speed upgrades. And we can continue adding speed upgrades until this Gaia Mana Spreader is overwhelmed. So currently there are 24 these ultimate speed upgrades in that mechanical user, and you can see that this Gaia Mana Spreader is overwhelmed, and it's outputting its mana as fast as possible into this pool, and it's climbing at a pretty decent rate, even though we are wasting some of the experience because we're picking it up, but that can be dealt with another way. To get the fastest amount of mana in the pool, you technically want to put the pool above the spreader. You'll be making mana so fast, you should be able to just have a spark network, assuming you have the Gaia Mana Spreader to be able to output mana this quickly. So that's it for this tiny tutorial.